So, you have a movie for me?
Yes, sir, I do. It's gonna be called Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. Not sure about that title. I'll try to come up with something else.
Okay, I mean, I feel like that works, though.
Well, we'll see. So what happens in this thing?
Well, we're gonna meet this teenager, Marty McFly, and he's hanging out at his friend's house, this wacky old scientist guy, Dr. Emmett Brown.
Oh, and how did they become friends?
Somehow, I imagine.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay, thank God. So Doc Brown, he's real wacky. He says "Great Scott" all the time.
Oh, Scott is tight.
Fantastic. So Marty's life is pretty crappy. Like, his dad gets bullied by this guy named Biff, his mom is an alcoholic, his brother has a crappy job, and his sister can't find a boyfriend.
Yikes.
And then one night, Doc brings Marty to a shopping mall parking lot because he built a time machine out of a DeLorean.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, so we're gonna have this really fun scene where they engage in some casual, animal testing.
Oh my God, what?
Yeah, Doc puts his dog inside the DeLorean, sends him into the future, and you know what? He doesn't die.
Is Doc the bad guy?
What would make you think he's the bad guy? So anyway, then the terrorists he's been dealing with show up.
You're sure he's not the bad guy?
Yeah, no. He ripped these guys off for some plutonium, so they murder him.
Oh, what is going on?
And so Marty escapes in the DeLorean and accidentally goes back to 1955.
That's in the past.
It certainly is, sir. And so he's gonna run into his dad, George McFly.
Oh, that's interesting. An encounter with his dad in the past?
Yeah. And so pretty much immediately he finds out that his dad's a peeping Tom.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and he saves his dad from getting hit by a car, but then he gets hit by a car.
Oh.
And so he's taken in by his mom Lorraine's family, and she is all over him when he wakes up. I mean, she really wants to sleep with him.
What are you talking about?
See, the whole thing is that Marty's parents met after George was hit by that car, but now since Marty was hit by the car, Lorraine just wants to hook up with him. She's on a path to end up with him.
Right, okay, I feel like that's pretty messed up for a movie.
Yeah, so the whole movie, Lorraine's trying really hard to get into her son's pants.
I do not like that sentence.
Well, she doesn't know that it's her future son.
I don't see how that's gonna be fun for anyone to watch.
I feel like everybody's gonna love it.
Well, if you say so. So what else happens?
Well, so Marty's gonna spend the movie trying to get his dad to hook up with his mom instead of him, because the future's getting all messed up now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he goes to see Doc in 1955, and Doc is like, uh-oh, Marty, this isn't good.
How can he tell?
Well, Marty has this photo with him from the future, and you can see his siblings starting to disappear from it bit by bit, because they were never born.
So that exact photo at that exact time, at that exact angle, was still taken despite the wildly different circumstances?
That's what we're going with.
Well, okay then.
So anyway, Marty hatches a plan to get Lorraine to go to the dance with George instead of him and get them to fall in love.
How does he plan on doing that? Sorry, sir, can I just a minute, Larry. So what's the plan?
Well, he's gonna pretend to force himself on his own mother, and then his father's gonna come in and beat him off, and that's really gonna impress the mom, and then she's gonna want to hook up with him instead of her own son.
He came in at the wrong
Okay,
time.
I'm gonna go. You sure? You can stick around. No, I insist. Not sure what that guy's problem was, so how does the plan play out?
Oh, well, turns out that bully Biff shows up, and he actually tries to force himself on Lorraine.
Oh, no.
Yeah, he's really going at it. He's really trying to take advantage of this girl.
And you're sure this is a family movie?
I'm telling you, I feel like it's gonna be a classic. So then George really does save the day by standing up to Biff and punching him out.
Wow.
Yeah, and then at that school dance, Marty's gonna play Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry.
Great song.
And it turns out Chuck Berry's cousin is there, so he calls Chuck and he's like, hey, you know that new sound you're looking for?
So Chuck Berry steals the song Johnny Be Good from over a phone.
He does, yeah, fun little tidbit.
But if Marty hadn't performed it, Chuck Berry would have come up with it word for word just a couple of years later.
Right, but now in this timeline, Chuck Berry's a plagiarist, so it's fun.
Okay, I guess that's a fun moment.
So anyway, now that Marty's ensured that his parents are gonna procreate, he has to go back to the future.
That's the name of the movie.
That last part of the sentence, yeah, not the whole sentence.
Okay, so yeah, I actually did just think of a title that might be a bit better.
Okay.
What if we call it Spaceman from Pluto?
Spaceman from Pluto?
Yeah, that is a real note that a Hollywood studio executive is giving. Let's call it Spaceman from Pluto instead of Back to the Future.
Oh, I feel like, God no.
Well, we'll see.
Okay, to be discussed, I guess.
So what else happens?
Well, Doc and Marty need to use this famous lightning strike on a clock tower to power the time machine back to the 80s.
Okay.
And before they do, Marty gives Doc a letter informing him that he's going to be shot in the future and he needs to protect himself.
Oh, smart.
But Doc is like, no, I cannot know any information about the future. The results could be disastrous. So he tears the letter up.
Oh, no.
But then Marty's like, oh, I have a time machine. I could just go warn him in the future.
Very clever.
Very clever. So he gives himself 11 minutes.
Whoa, why would he give himself 11 minutes? Why not give himself a couple of hours or even days?
Well, he's going to give himself 11 minutes because it's more exciting this way.
Fair enough. So is it going to be tough for Doc to survive?
Actually, it's going to be super easy. Bear barely an inconvenience.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it turns out Doc taped the note back together, so he puts on a bulletproof vest.
Oh, well, thank God he did a complete 180 on his passionate speech about knowing about the future.
Yeah, it really worked out. So then Marty goes to see his family, and they're just completely different now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, his dad's a super successful author, his brother has a great job, his sister has a good dating life.
George is a rich author and they still live in the same house?
They do.
The brother has a good office job and he still lives at home?
He does.
Well, okay then.
Oh, and also now Biff gets hired by George to wax his car.
George hired the guy who tried to assault his wife?
He did. He's like, that Biff is such a character. He's always trying to get away with something.
Like assaulting his wife?
Yeah, quite the character. And so now Marty gets to go on a date, and he has a nice car.
Now wait, so his entire family have had a different life, but Marty still has the memories and experiences of the original timeline?
Yeah.
So what happens to the version of Marty that was living with the family on this new timeline that they were interacting with on a daily basis?
Yeah, don't worry about any of that.
Oh, okay, I won't.
Great. So what do you think?
Well, it sounds insane and inappropriate in several ways, but somehow I do think it'll be a classic.
Oh yeah, nobody's ever gonna dare to even think about remaking this thing.
No. So Back to the Future is one of those movies that when you watch it as a kid, there's a lot of things that, went over your head. And then you watch it as an adult and you realize this really was not a kid's movie at all. One, there's a lot more language in that movie than I remember. Obviously, a lot of the themes that are happening in the film, the sexual themes for sure. But I like how Ryan George in this one has another character, show up in the room, which must be, I don't know if it's a secretary or whatever he is to the producer guy, but he came in the room at the wrong time. We've all had one of those experiences where you come into a room or you come into a conversation at the wrong time, and he comes in at definitely the wrong time in this conversation when writer guy is trying to give, little tidbits of the themes and what's happening in the movie. Really, at the end of the day, what was happening was, aspects of incest almost. Obviously the characters didn't know except for Marty of what was happening and what they were trying to do. They had no idea, but it's still just hilarious to think about it. But it's one of those movies where it's like, it's not a kid's movie. It's not a family movie, really, at the end of the day. It's more, older teen adult film. I'll kind of put it that way. Even though in this one, Ryan is just kind of talking through the film and, the main beats of the film, it's still entertaining how he does it. And I like the little things he does to kind of intertwine different, reactions from producer guy and reactions from writer guy in both scenarios. But also having that secretary come in or worker, whoever they were, it just helped to kind of change up the flow of what was happening in this pitch meeting. So I like how he did that, which, I feel like he's doing that more often, especially different reactions from either producer guy or writer guy, which was, it was pretty funny. So I'm glad he did this one. I do want to say there was two people I was talking to a few days back. I couldn't find the comments, but they brought up how they were hoping that Back to the Future would be done for a pitch meeting. And I got a link for a John Mulaney stand-up special. I believe it was on Netflix. And it talks about like what the pitch meeting must have been like. And the guy that I was talking to was pretty much saying this is how Ryan George got the idea. Who's to say? Maybe that's what it was or not. I'm not sure. But I did watch it and it was hilarious. So I'll put the link for that in the description. But if you were the one that I was speaking to, or the two of you, can you just kind of put that in the comments? Because I couldn't find it and I wanted to say your names in this video. I apologize. But I didn't forget. We had that conversation. So thank you for that. But yeah, this one was funny. Those are my thoughts overall, just on this pitch meeting and Back to the Future overall. Just when it comes to, the themes, who it's really for, and it's still a fun movie. It's a classic. Well, it'll always be a classic. I really enjoy 1 and 2. 3 is fun, but I don't enjoy it much compared to the other two. And probably just because I'm not really much of a full-on Western type of guy. I'm liking them more as I get older, but yeah, it's just, they don't really work for me. So that one didn't work for me overall. But those are my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let's talk about this pitch meeting. Let's talk about Back to the Future and how we're happy that he's done this one now. So I'm sure he'll do the other two pretty soon. Next thing, if you are subscribed to the channel, thank you very much for subscribing. We've crossed 1,000 subscribers and we're continuing to grow. So I thank you guys so much for that and that you guys come back each and every day. And we talk about these pitch meetings. We talk about these movies. It's really fun just conversing with you guys in the comments. So I love that. If you're not subscribed, think about subscribing to the channel. We got a couple ways you can do that. Join the On My Mind crew. I will really enjoy having you. And you can join in on the discussions that we have each and every day, Monday through Friday. We're here, sometimes Saturdays. Now you probably saw there were a couple short codes that came up. It's for an Amazon gift card. And actually the last code is right here. So if you put those codes together, well, really it's just one whole code, but if you put it all together for an Amazon gift card, you can redeem that on Amazon.com. First one to do it gets it. You don't have to comment in there anywhere. I'm not giving this to anyone specifically. It's just the first person to get this code and enter it and redeem it. It's all yours. So go ahead and do that. I do want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. I know it's Thursday. It's kind of crept up on us. So my family, we've been kind of forgetting what was happening with the move and everything, that this was the holiday. So we're eating good and we're enjoying each other's time in the new house here in Texas. So I do want to thank you guys for wishing me well when it came to the move, and thank you guys just for the support that you've given me with all that. So it's been great. Last thing though, before you go, we do have a pitch meeting playlist you can check out over here. Got a lot of different videos in there with Ryan George and Screen Rant, and a lot of different things they're doing there. It's just funny. I love it. And you can also check out the Iron Man pitch meeting here as well, which is really, really funny. Iron Man 2. Check that out. If you've seen all that, let's talk about Back to the Future in the comments. I'll see you there.